What's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to turn any old room into your very own home YouTube studio. What starts like this becomes this. In any video, the first thing I'd suggest you do before setting up lights, adjusting your camera position, or changing your camera settings is work on your audio. So right now, you're hearing the onboard audio from my camera. It's tinny, it echoes in this room, it just doesn't sound rich. But now, we're gonna switch over to this lav mic, starting here. And now you can hear the professional sound and quality of the lav microphone. Now, this lav microphone here cost me about $15 on Amazon. It can plug directly into the mini jack port on your camera, or you could use something like a Zoom recorder to plug right into and keep it in your pocket like I'm doing right now. So immediately we're getting a much richer audio quality, which is really gonna change the game of your videos. Another option is to pick up a stationary condenser microphone like the Blue Yeti. This will plug directly into the USB port on your computer and costs no more than $100. You'll notice the difference in the audio quality here. This is me using the lav microphone, and now we're switching over to the Blue Yeti microphone. We get an even richer sound, which works really nicely if you're gonna use a stationary studio setup where you can have the microphone sitting right in front of you. Let's move on now to figuring out the perfect location within the room to set up the studio. Now that our audio is optimized, we wanna start to think about camera location. Now, this is a pretty big room, as you can see as I walk around. There's really any number of places we could set up, but the two things that I like to think about when I'm setting up a location for my home studio are background and depth. So background in this room, there's a lot of different walls, but you can see we do have this brick wall, which gives a lot of texture and a really nice color for the background of my shot. So I think we're gonna wanna use this. The second thing I like to think about is depth, and where do we get the most depth in a room? Well, we get that by using a corner. So if we look here, we're getting two different corners in the room. We've got this one with the window light, and then we've got this one which is a little bit bland. It just has a wall next to it. So I think we want to optimize and set up here in the corner with the window light, and then we have a nice juxtaposition of the brick wall and the curtains coming down, and we can use this light to our advantage. So let's start to set up our camera shooting into this corner, and we'll see how that starts to look. So if we go from our initial location here, which is just me awkwardly leaning over the counter, kind of chaos in the background, not a lot set up intentionally, and we move to our new location, you can see now we've got the background, we're shooting into the corner, we're creating that depth, and even here I've got a nice setup in front of me that I can pull this condenser microphone over and use for this audio too. It feels natural because the microphone's here, or I've got the cheaper option to use the lav mic, which would allow me to move around and not have to stay near the microphone. So you start to get your option with audio, and we're starting to get a little bit of a setup. Now, when we move on to the next series of adjustments, we're gonna look at the camera so that we can really take advantage of what we have going on in the background, and we can take advantage of the depth that we've created to make a very cinematic looking shot. So I'm showing you the back view of our camera so that we can discuss how the camera settings are incorrect here and how we can improve them. You can see in this shot, we've got a shutter of 1/80. Now, generally, you want your shutter speed to be double that of your frame rate. We're shooting at 24 frames a second here, so we want the shutter speed to be about 1/48 or 1/50. Next, we want to look at our aperture, and you can see that we're shooting at f11. Now, this means that our aperture is closed down way too much, so that back wall is very much in focus, and we're in focus here, which is okay, but we want ourselves, like this microphone, to be in focus and the background to blur out and give a cinematic look. We're gonna open up our aperture all the way to f2.8, which is the brightest this lens can open up to. It's the Tamron 28-75. It can open up to f2.8. And now you can see our shot is way, way too bright. So we need to compensate our ISO. Now we've got an ISO of 8,000, which is way too high. It's gonna make our footage grainy. It's just not gonna look very professional. So here, we need to bring our ISO down to compensate for how bright our shot now is. And you're starting to see the difference. So this is us in our new location using the camera settings as we initially had them. Now let's see how it looks with our new settings. And this is us with the new camera settings. We've opened up the aperture, so now we have myself in focus and the background falling off into a nice cinematic blur. We have the shutter speed a lot more normalized by being 1/50, which is a lot closer to double our frame rate of 24 frames a second. And we've got our ISO a lot lower too, which is making the footage less grainy, crisper, and it just feels a lot nicer on the eyes. So suddenly we've optimized our camera settings, we've optimized our audio, we've optimized our location. We're starting to make this shot look really nice. But there's a few more aesthetic changes we can do to make this go from a standard living room setup to a real home YouTube studio. So I do want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, Accsoon, and their SeeMo monitor. Now, what this has allowed me to do, I'll show you on a different angle here. The product box right here, the Accsoon SeeMo, and here it is on my camera. And what it's allowed me to do is turn my iPhone into a monitor that I'm able to use to see myself. You can see it right here. You can see me through the shot. And I'm connected just via an HDMI cable from my iPhone into my camera. This camera doesn't have a flip out screen, so this allows me to see how my shot looks when I'm in position, and I can know that each time I'm recording, I'm getting the shot exactly how I want it to look. Now, I'll show you what this setup looks like right now. It's actually really nice. You can see I've got my camera set up, and then the cables just run up into my phone. There's a video out cord here that goes from my phone charging port into the SeeMo, which is this product. It's battery powered. And then that runs via HDMI right into my camera to create my very own monitor that allows me to set up some incredible shots very nicely with nothing extra, just my iPhone. So I want to just quickly show you how the app works for the Accsoon SeeMo. You can see this is our monitor here, and you have a couple different options. You can go through, you can check how it would look black and white. You can see levels in the top right corner up there, which is a really, really fantastic thing to have. A lot of functionality that you're getting out of the Accsoon SeeMo app. And you can see here we actually do have a peaking. So if we change our focus, you can see that that peaking comes into play, which is really super, super helpful. You've got record modes and toggles so that you could choose to go live. It actually shows you at the top that our input's coming in at 1080p 60, and our encoder is an H.264, and we have our audio and everything there too. We can change the video bitrate at which we want to stream. We can see a zebra monitor here to test our exposure levels. So some features in this that really make for a fantastic monitor. We've got audio levels here, even on the side. A lot of really, really nice features. We can see how a crop point might look, various different crop points, which is awesome to see. If you wanted to shoot something for a square or vertical video, you have that option. So the app is a fantastic addition to the Accsoon SeeMo product, and I wanted to just quickly show you that here so you could get a sense of exactly how things look. So I'll put a link down below so you can check out the Accsoon SeeMo all for yourself. A fantastic product that's making shoots like this significantly easier. It's gonna really change the game for you when you're going and building your own home YouTube studio. Now, let's make some more aesthetic changes. We need a new lighting setup. Right now we're using the ceiling lights. They're coming straight down over my face. They're shadowing my eyes, making me look tired. It's really not what we wanna go for. So we need to implement a new key light. And in this video, I'm gonna use a cheap umbrella light. You can get a set of 2 on Amazon for no more than 50 bucks. So let's see how much of a difference this key light's gonna make. Okay, so I've just set up an umbrella light next to my camera, and you can see it's right next to my setup right here. It's gonna be lighting the side of my face to give a little bit of texture, not just a straight on light. I turned off my overhead lights before. They were really casting down a lot of shadows on the face, so we're gonna turn those off. So the only light we're using right now is our umbrella light. I'm also gonna close the shades that I've got back here, not because I don't like the light that's coming in, but because it's casting a little bit too much light in the background, which is creating a little bit of a halo behind us. We don't want that, so we wanna really control all of the light. So in this case, I'm gonna close my windows, and that'll let the only light be the umbrella key light. So here we are in our original setup. Again, the ceiling lights coming down, shadowing my face. And now let's see how it looks with the lights. And here we are with our new key light. Now I should note that because I turned off the overheads, I turned on my key light, and I closed my window blinds, I had to make a couple adjustments to my camera settings. I had to adjust my ISO to compensate for brightness changes. I also changed my white balance. I was on an auto white balance before, which was kind of adjusting throughout the video and kicking all over, and now we're on a daylight white balance, which is matching my key light. So it's starting to feel really, really nice here. You can see that the light is giving a highlight on this side of my face and a little bit of a shadow fall off on this side of my face, creating some dynamics, some contrast, adding some real texture to me, the subject. At this point, we're really getting close on the home YouTube studio setup. We have lighting optimized, we have our audio optimized, we have our location optimized, but there's a few additional fun touches we can make to really spruce things up, and particularly in the backgrounds. So I found this lamp laying around my house, and I'm gonna use it to add a little bit of texture to this back wall, some nice light. So if I plug this in, have a look at how this affects our bathroom, which right now is very lacking in contrast and dynamics. So if we just turn this on, suddenly we get to really show off the texture of that brick. We get some nice highlights that'll separate me in the foreground from the background here. And again, just a lamp I had in my house. It could be any old lamp, any touch of light. You could use your iPhone flashlight against the wall, though that might not be quite enough, but you could use any old flashlight to do the trick. So I'm feeling good about how this is looking here. And I've got these shelves over here that I want to take advantage of too. So I'm honored to have won a few New England Emmy Awards, and I think this would be the perfect place for the trophies to sit. It fits within the video production theme, and they also would have a nice shine in the background. So let's do that now. So now we're getting a nice highlight from these. The key light is actually kicking a touch off of them. We've got this lamp light on the back wall. So we're creating a nice background art for our shot here. So now you can see our final home YouTube studio look. We've got the key light, we've got the location, we've got the audio, we have the background nicely emphasized here. A lot of elements going into play that really didn't take that long to set up or that much cost. I should note, you can give your shot a final color grade. So here's how the shot looks straight out of my camera, and here's how it looks when we apply a final color grade to the footage, just to give it that extra little oomph, to tweak it just a touch and make it look exactly how we want. It's as easy as finding a cheap lav microphone or a condenser mic, a cheap key light to really give you some emphasis in the front, and then just adjusting some things around your house, using a lamp to light a scene, using window shades to either give or take light, and turning off those overheads that cast shadows on your face. So a few simple adjustments and you can have your very own home YouTube studio. So if you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed, and we'll be back with a lot more.